He said some lines today, okay? Chris.
I can't hear you. Volume's out.
I'm going to play this clip, and this clip is going to run like, you're going to see it all over the place. I'm warning you now, because it's going to be on every title that we pump out for the next 2 days, because it fires me up. It's not my words. It's not me being extra. It's not me being Disney. None of that. And here's what I love, because he comes in here, and I said it on Sunday, this is the best linebacker group probably in the country, and by far the best we've had in a couple of years, even though EA Sports doesn't believe it. Then Chris Doring went out there saying the exact same thing. I said, y'all better stop playing with me, boy. You better stop playing with me. Y'all be hitting me with some nonsense. Yeah, y'all be saying I be just talking crap. Yeah, Chris Doring. This man gets paid by ESPN. I'm in my mother's basement telling y'all this 4 days ago. But that's besides the point. I'm going to play the clip. I don't even want to ruin it. Kind of do, but I'm going to play the clip. And then we can talk about it afterwards.
Offensive line. Yeah, this is where I was at practice a couple times during the spring. Just looking at the offensive and defensive lines, they look different. They look like what you would expect from an Alabama or a Georgia. So I think they've upgraded there. And that offensive line is very experienced, maybe the best center in the conference.
Agreed.
Coming back again for Florida. So I really like what they've done to add the pieces. DJ Lagway is the focal point, but without the supporting cast, he's only somewhat effective. I think they can be. It starts up front with the defensive line, and Jake, you mentioned a few of the guys that Florida's excited about. But honestly, it's the linebacker position. And you said, I think they're the best linebacking core in the conference. A guy to keep your eye on, Miles Graham. His dad, Ernest Graham, was a great running back at Florida back in the 90s and early 2000s. Miles, you saw him as the season wore on last year start to get more reps. He had 2 massive goal line plays against Ole Miss and that win over the Rebels in November. He's going to be a stud this year. They got a lot of talent at that linebacker spot. That's not something they've been able to say for quite a few years here in Gainesville.
Summer means more time out.
Okay. All I heard is he said this O-line, or this defensive line O-line looks like Alabama and Georgia. You heard it, Dave. Wasn't me. Wasn't me sunshine pumping. Wasn't me lying to anybody. This was Chris Doring, who goes to the practices, who goes to multiple practices. You know why he goes to multiple practices? Because he has to show up on SEC Media Day and talk about all these teams. He has to be formally informed, okay? So, argue with yourself, okay? Yell at yourself. Yeah. It's not me telling you this anymore. It's not some guy just you hoping and hollering, trying to get clicks. No. This is on a national platform, okay? Talking about it. Been trying to tell y'all that these boys are they're yoked and ready to go. And now you're hearing it once again. When he said look like Alabama and Georgia, I said, back out, you Chris, easy.
Shelton already placed his bet.
Easy.
Already.
The linebacker room, I already knew. He didn't hit him with surprises on that. I knew what to expect from that linebacker room. I'm already fired up. And look, I think we've talked about it with Stephen Harris multiple times. Y'all think that I just come on here and just fake this stuff. I do, but most of the time I try to figure this thing out. And you learn a lot when you talk to Stephen Harris. You learn a lot about the game. And again, when you have a great front line, it allows for the rest of those guys to play well. And I think the linebacker room has just been playing, without a great line. So they've been, playing one-handed essentially. Now you've got an extremely young, talented, absolute animal of a group in the linebacker on top of just a ferocious defensive line with a ton of experience, a ton of reps. He even talks about Elgin McRae, thinks he's going to be one of the breakout guys in the SEC this year. Like, there is so much excitement and hype. And look, hearing it from Doring and hear him say those things, man, was incredible. And it just reiterates what we've been thinking, what we've been feeling, what we've been believing. And I think a lot of people, even the Gator fans that are a little more pessimistic, all believe it a little bit more than normal. The huge question mark, the circle, is still Billy Napier, which I've got juice. I've got an answer for that one too. I'm prepared today, boys. Okay? I had my cereal. I'm dialed in. Hey, sit back, all right? No bullying around here, Mark. Anyways, go ahead, Dave.
What kind of cereal?
I don't remember.
I need to know. You don't remember. He doesn't remember his cereal.
Yeah,
okay,
Special K, the yogurt one.
The thing I like about Chris Doring is he doesn't beat around the bush, right? Like this is one of the guys, and I've even talked to him outside of it. I mean, we were at the Townsend tent. I think we talked to him for a little bit when we were there too.
Yeah,
this is a guy that he's going to tell you whether the team sucks or whether they're good. and what he thinks about it. And look, he kind of did it last year, but like you got to look at the last year too. We started out really bad, but we played really well at the end. And we heard Derek Wingo. He came on and he talked about how look, the leadership team came together, everybody was practicing harder and all that. We knew we had the talent. We knew we had the guys. They just needed to go out there and perform and act like I guess they cared or whatever they were doing. But like they actually went out there and we won. We beat a top 10 team, top 25 team. And now they're coming back. They're staying for one more year when they could have went to the NFL. And like you said, the offensive and D line, I mean, without an offensive line, you don't have an offense. Without the defensive line, you don't have a backfield defense. So, you got those two sides of the football stacked. I think that's what a lot of Florida Gator fans are excited for. And that's what I'm excited for is both the lines. Like people do not realize it all starts in the trenches, man. Like you got good trenches. You're going to have an effective offense where you can run the football. You got linebackers like Miles Graham, Aaron Childs, those guys stepping up to the plate, Jaden Robinson, those guys. You got edge players like Tyreek Sapp who can hopefully gets more than 7.5 sacks this year. I mean, you've got people all over the field now. You've got talent and you've got experience and you've got guys that came back that are being mock drafted in first rounds and Athlon and getting all these accolades before preseason. Now it's time to put the pieces together and let's get to work. I mean, personally, if DJ Lagway stays healthy, I think Florida, the sky's the limit for Florida. I think they can make it in the playoff and they can make some noise as well.
You know how when you play Madden, you got like a really good team, and then on those teams they have star factors, and those guys have stars on their around their body, right? That's what makes teams special. There's some good teams out there, but they don't have many star players when you play the game. Guys that you can hand the ball off to, and they're just X factor guys. That's the key thing I say for this team, even more so, is that you have a nice sound-based team, but on top of it, there's a lot of X-factor guys with DJ, with the running back room, with Dallas Wilson, Eugene Wilson, that linebacker room we just talked about. Guys that can, because they are an X-factor, can make a big play on top of just the surrounding bases around them. Now, I know that Q Lee says Billy's got to show me some love too, and you got to think about it. A lot of these coaches, they don't really cut, think about your past champions. Ryan Day was on his way out last year at the end of Michigan. If there's not a 12-team playoff, there's a very high chance he's not coaching the Ohio State Buckeyes this year. Okay? Yeah. He showed you in the last 4 games of the year that he was the guy. Yes or no? So yeah, I hear you. I agree with you. But at the same time, these coaches, just like all of us in life, figure it out and kind of find that second wind in the moment. And I know they haven't shown it. Sometimes they don't show it. And Ryan Day didn't have the greatest resume of showing it either. He's had plenty of choke 'em. Where's the advantage in that? Well, now you've tasted what blood tastes like. You've been there. You've had your nuts kicked in. You're like, I know what it feels like. At this point, I've got nothing to lose. And it might create a little more than what you're used to versus somebody who hasn't faced that kind of defeat before. I'm just saying. I'm fired up. I'm just...
Shelton's placing his bets. Like you look at Ohio State's situation too. Like during the year, they didn't look that great. They were winning games, but they didn't look that great. They lost to Michigan for the 3rd year in a row, and all the Michigan fans were sitting there just taunting them, just saying all sorts of nonsense. Then they make it into the playoff, and they look like a completely different team. They were just decapitating teams, every team that they played. And now all the Michigan fans can't really say anything because Ohio State won a national championship. And I kind of relate that to our schedule, right? Like, look, it's okay if we lose to an LSU or a Miami or whatever. As long as you can beat enough teams to get into that playoff and give yourself a shot at that natty, think about it if you win it.
Make the dance, baby.
Can't say anything anymore. They can't say nothing.
Ask the Todd father. Make the dance, baby. The rest will come. $2 from Tyler Bohannon. The Gators will make the playoffs this year. I will say, though, like, if things don't go well, this is going to be clipped, and that's just kind of the name of the game. But I don't care. Yeah, I live and die by the sword, boys. That's how this thing works.
Hey, look, I'm already used to it. It doesn't bother me anymore. I've become numb to it. But also, I mean, somebody, was talking about, like, Billy Napier's got to show me. And that's the thing. That's the big key. It's like you got all the talent. You've got all the pieces. All the pieces are aligned right now. Now it's time for Billy to prove it to the rest of the fan base. And we'll see if Billy Napier can do it or not. I have a lot of confidence just because I've seen DJ Lagway play football. Obviously, the people are going to bring up the interceptions and the turnovers. Don't want to mention that he had dealing with multiple injuries and he's a true freshman, but still be the top 10, top 25 team. Something Cam Ward didn't do. But, they're going to say what they want to, but at the end of the day, Florida's got one of the best quarterbacks in the league going into 2025.